the vanished figure is clearly female. Although very different from Naked Man with Knife, 3 other canvases executed between 1938 and 1941 also appear to stem from Pollock's submersion into the world of Orozco. The feathered serpent figure of Quetzalcoatl, and/or the snakes that banded together to form the raft that took him away from the Aztecs, figure prominently in these works. Composition with serpent mask, circle, and composition with woman. All were painted in intense, shrill colors reminiscent of Mexican and American Indian folk art, and arrows, zigzags, lightning, and other ideographic symbols abound in their more schematic designs. Pollock's own passion for primitive North American art is substantiated by the accounts of his frequent trips in the 30s and early 40s to New York's Museum of Natural History and Museum of the American Indian. His interest in cutting out and saving a spread of 10 masks from the Modern's Indian Art of the United States assuredly confirms Pollock's intense fascination with this type of ceremonial paraphernalia. Another such mask, plumed like many in the exhibition, leers in Naked Man from a table to the figure's right. Similar objects, used by Pacific Coast shamans to induce personality transformations in their communion with the supernatural, figure prominently in another traditional work, Masked Image. Their adoption is central to Pollock's most eloquent declaration of a new direction in his art, in the closely related canvas title, Birth, which we have already seen. Bird is probably Jackson Pollock's last work in which an obvious dependence on indigenous sources can be seen to predominate. His admiration for Picasso would eminently eclipse this fascination with Mexican and American Indian stimuli, and in many ways, The Magic Mirror, which can be firmly dated to 1941, is exemplary of his important change of focus. Certainly, Pollock's choice of the adjective magic for the title relates the work to his continuing shamanic interests. By once again mixing sand and other debris with his paint, he implied not only the Navajo creation of pictures with colored earth, but also the surface incrustation of desert canyon walls, another typical support for magically created primitive imagery. His grayish-pink color scheme reinforced these associations. Partially covered over by the roughened impasto in The Magic Mirror is a person seated next to a table over which hangs a square looking glass. A number of indistinguishable objects lie on the table. As the figure's head is almost totally obscured, the viewer must find other clues to its sex. One foot exhibits the heavy paw contours seen on Pollock's shamans. Because of its title and general configuration, this painting has been compared with Picasso's Girl Before a Mirror, a 1932 work which was readily accessible to Pollock as a model. In Orange Head, a canvas that was probably contemporaneous with Interior with Figures, Pollock painted his own version in clashing, dissonant colors of Picasso's well-known combination profile frontal portraits. The double image of Orange Head forcefully projects its subject's schizoid state. In addition to reflecting the style of Picasso, its distorted effect relies once again on Alaskan mask imagery. One of the most conspicuous and unnerving features of Picasso's Guernica is the profile upper torso of a bull which calmly officiates over a scene of disorder and ruin, not unlike the woman in Pollock's own luridly colored Indian composition. The confused and struggling jumble of interlaced figures in Man, Bull, Bird, another work painted by Pollock less than 4 years after Picasso completed Guernica, is strongly reminiscent of the early stages of the latter in its hectic, centrifugal arrangement. However, the longhorn steer in Man, Bull, Bird more closely resembles the animal Orozco used to denote Zeus in Chaos and Gods, a side panel for Prometheus. Pablo Picasso's fascination with the bull related not only to his Spanish heritage, it was also partially based on that creature's mythological resonance. In the 30s, it was well known that Picasso had appropriated the loathsome hybrid man-beast of Greek legend, the Minotaur, as his alter ego. We cannot be sure when Pollock obtained it, but the first issue, 1933, of the French Surrealist journal named after the Minotaur was in his library when he died. On this canvas, entitled Head, Pollock wound around one side of the Minotaur face a striped serpentine demarcation which appears to be a devouring snake. It's clear that during the early 40s, Jackson Pollock was well aware that there were thematic interconnections between his works. This is evident in conversations recalled by several close friends. For instance, despite his generally secretive nature and his unresponsiveness when specifically asked about the meaning of the she-wolf, Pollock betrayed the compulsive origins of this and other current pictures when he told Sidney Janis that it had come into existence because I had to paint it. Burning Landscape, an oil on canvas painted in 1943, probably originated, at least in its title, from Pollock's awareness of the incendiary tactics of modern global warfare. An undated notation in Pollock's handwriting, found in his files after his death, may have been written around this time. It expresses very vividly the direction he had begun to pursue during the war. Experience of our age in terms of painting, not an illustration of concentrated, fluid. Adolf Gottlieb